Traditional silicon solar cells have good efficiency and stability, but they are expensive to make and can only be produced in stiff panels. Perovskite solar cells, on the other hand, are an intriguing option. They are cheap cost, high efficiency, thin, lightweight, and flexible since they can be printed with inks. Solar panels may now be made with perovskite sheets that cost only 25 cents, 18 pence per square foot, making the technology commercially viable. Perovskite solar cells have the allure of higher energy efficiency and faster production than conventional silicon solar cells. However, they have lagged behind silicon solar cells in terms of efficiency and, more significantly, stability, easily degrading in normal environments. Perovskite solar cells can be rendered inoperable by even a small amount of extreme weather, making them essentially useless. As a result, they are less long-lasting than silicon-based counterparts, which can last up to 25 years or more. Assuming they could stand up to the task, the perovskite solar panels may be the next big thing. Using only a thin film laid on glass or plastic, these solar cells convert sunlight into electricity at a rate of around 50% more efficiently than the market-dominating silicon photovoltaic cells. It's taken NREL scientists 7 years to find the perovskite holy grail, and the cells have overcome numerous obstacles along the way. From 3% to 29%, they've improved dramatically. Silicon cells are 20% efficient on average, whereas perovskite cells have gone from seconds to months in durability. As NREL's perovskite research chief Joe Berry put it, "We're trying to connect the dots between efficiency, performance, and durability." Theoretically, yes, but in practice, it's true. For the commercialization of this technology, NREL established the US Manufacturing of Advanced Perovskites Consortium in 2020. Collaborating with 3 universities and 6 thin-film solar companies, the majority of which are startups. According to companies in those regions, perovskite products are already being marketed in Europe and China. An Oxford PV tandem perovskite silicon cell is expected to go into production this year, the British business stated this. Perovskites have the advantage of being simple to produce right out of the gate. Inkjet printing or roll-to-roll methods can be used to make the solar cells. Energy Materials Corporation, a consortium partner with NREL, is attempting to retool an outdated plant in Rochester, NY, to manufacture perovskite solar films where Kodak photofilm was initially manufactured. On the other hand, a silicon solar cell needs to be refined under high heat and then infused with other materials before being cut into wafers and assembled into a solar panel using industrial milling equipment. But efficiency is perovskite's main advantage. Cadmium telluride and copper indium gallium selenide thin films have had efficiency levels of 7 to 18% in the past. Thin films were thought to be more cost-effective than silicon panels despite their lower output. When silicon cell prices fell from $3.40 per watt in 2008 to 20 cents per watt in 2020, thin films lost any edge they had, and they had to strategize again. Perovskites have reached 29% efficiency in lab tests with a theoretical ceiling of 31%. A perovskite-silicon combination might achieve 45% efficiency, more than double that of today's solar panels. The power of perovskites lies in their structure, as they are not an object, but rather a shape, a geometry. It was Russian mineralogist Lev Perovsky whose study on the crystal structure of the first perovskite, calcium titanium oxide, was credited with giving it its name in 1839. Perovskite is a crystal structure that resembles calcium titanium oxide and is represented by the chemical formula ABX3. It's like having a pizza with the crust trimmed, a wood triangle and a cheese triangle. Triangles make up the majority of the shapes. The so-called metal halide compounds, usually containing lead or tin and iodine or bromine, are the perovskites of interest. When the sun shines on certain perovskite compositions, they produce electrons, according to the findings of the researchers. To show the simplicity, Shellhas prepared a methyl ammonium lead iodide perovskite in an NREL lab and gave a visitor a small vial of it and an artist's paintbrush, instructing him to apply the solution to a square of glass placed under a bright light and connected to a voltage meter. The voltage meter began to fluctuate as the clear solution was brushed against the glass and dried into a black coating. It was described as magic coming to life. To get from the higher energy violet to the lowest energy red, there are 7 wavelengths. Perovskites can harvest a wider range of light, including high energy blue photons, whereas silicon can only absorb red light. Those photons are responsible for the sky's many shades of hue. Heat, moisture, and even air can break down the components chemically. Because the ions in the crystal move and the materials degrade quickly under certain current flows, they may become electrically unstable, improving the packaging and encapsulating of the cell to protect the perovskites, or developing a more durable compound, which was not a simple process until recently, are the 2 main approaches to dealing with the stability difficulties. Iron-containing materials, or ferrocenes, may provide a solution to these issues. Researchers from City University of Hong Kong, City U, were able to significantly increase the efficiency and stability of perovskite solar cells by including imperial-made ferrocenes. According to Nicholas Long from Imperial College London's Department of Chemistry, silicon cells are efficient but expensive, and we urgently need new solar energy devices to accelerate the transition to renewable energy. Stable and efficient perovskite cells could ultimately allow solar energy to be used in more applications, from powering the developing world to charging a new generation of wearable devices. He added that, "Our collaboration with colleagues in Hong Kong was beautifully serendipitous, arising after I gave a talk about new ferrocene compounds and met Dr. Zonglong Zhu from City U, who asked me to send over some samples. Within a few months, the City U team told us the results were exciting and asked us to send more samples, beginning a research program that has resulted in perovskite devices that are both more efficient and more stable." The light-harvesting layer of solar cell devices is made of perovskite. Even while silicon-based solar cells have proven more efficient at converting sunlight into electricity, these devices' electrons are less mobile, meaning they are unable to move as easily between layers of collection and conversion. In ferrocenes, the iron is sandwiched between carbon rings, which gives the complex its name. After Imperial's own Nobel Prize-winning chemist Geoffrey Wilkinson recognized ferrocene's unique structure in 1952, researchers around the world continue to study ferrocenes for their unique features. In this situation, the electron richness of their structure allows them to transfer electrons more easily from the perovskite layer to the following layers in the solar cell, increasing the efficiency with which solar energy is converted to electricity. Efficiencies of perovskite devices with an additional ferrocene layer of up to 29% have been demonstrated in tests carried out by the City U team and in commercial labs, approaching efficiency greater than that of standard silicon cells. However, ferrocene-based materials solve more than just this issue. The Imperial team has also been experimenting with different chemical groups attached to ferrocene's carbon rings. After sending various versions of these to the Hong Kong team, developed by PhD student Stephanie Shepherd, the collaborators uncovered one that considerably increases the perovskite layer's adhesion to the remainder of the device. More than 98% of their initial efficiency was maintained after 1,500 hours of continuous maximum power use, thanks to the additional attachment power. The addition of a ferrocene layer has brought these perovskite devices close to existing international requirements for regular silicon cells in terms of both efficiency and stability. For the first time ever, researchers have successfully increased the efficiency of an inverted perovskite solar cell to 29% and passed the International Electrotechnical Commission's IEC stability test. The team has patented their invention and hopes to license it so that their perovskite devices can be commercialized. Currently, they are working with different ferrocene designs to increase the device's performance and stability. It would be possible to reduce the cost of electricity to less than 2 cents per kilowatt-hour if they could create a 30-year-long perovskite module. We could use perovskites for utility-scale energy production at that price. Let us know what you think of the potential of this cheaper solar cell in the comments section below.